Okay, so now we have our one simple hole here. We're going to make a slightly more complex hole feature now that's going to be an actual tapped hole. What that means in real life is there's actually features down inside of that hole that are called threads that allow a fastener to go in there. So the call out that we have here is ultimately it's going to be a 1032 tapped hole that goes down 187.5 thousandths. And the tap drill size that we're going to use is going to be a diameter of 177 thousandths of an inch to a depth of 1/4 of an inch. Typically on engineering drawings, you typically don't want to specify this usually, but this is an educational thing. The purpose right now isn't to go look up a tap drill chart and all the rest, but so I'm giving this to you right now. I'm going to be first making a hole this diameter right there. Okay. So in the previous video, what we had done is we had made this sketch with these 3 points. One of those points we have now used to make this hole feature. These other points rather, we're going to use to make these other holes. So now what we need to do is we're going to come back here. I'm typing in on my keyboard the letter H for hole. All right, still a simple hole. And instead of doing face point, we're going to want to come back here and sketches, come down here. What I'm going to do, come down to sketch number 4. I'm going to turn the light bulb on so I can actually see those right here and have something to select. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to select now that point and that point. From the previous time that I used this hole wizard, it kept the values from before. And a diameter of 0.125, not what I want now. It's going to be 0.177 diameter, so that made those slightly bigger. The depth, 1/4 of an inch depth, so 0.250. Okay, 0.250 depth. Hey, easy enough there. That's what I want. I'd already assured that those are in the right place based off of the sketch. Click OK. Awesome. I've got 2 holes. But there's more going on those holes than just a straight walled hole. What we need to do next, I can go isometric view to see this. Under create, coming down here below the hole, there's this thread feature. What we're going to do, you can read that quickly, add internal external threads to cylindrical geometry. Threads can be cosmetic or modeled on the geometry. Select a cylindrical face, then set the thread specs or specifications. So here we go, thread, clicking on that. Faces, I want that face and one more face. Is it going to let me do it? Oh, so here, this has been a little bit challenging. For some reason, it's only allowing me to do one face at a time, which is making me a little unpleased right now and wondering, scratching my head why Fusion 360 is wanting this to be that difficult. But anyway, I've got one feature here selected. I'm going to deselect full length right now, and I will select modeled, and we'll see what the difference is. So that's what modeled. Ooh, that's kind of cool. It's actually like putting a helix in there. If I turn off model, it is just kind of a cosmetic-y. If you see this on a part, it looks kind of like threads, but it's not really. Well, click model just for kicks, and that looks pretty. Okay, but not full length. Offset here. If you were to plug something in here, this would be like distance from the top of the hole, I believe. So if I were to type in right now like 0.1, now it doesn't start the threads until 100 thousandths below the top edge of that part, which not at all what I want. So I want to go back to 0 there. Pulls them back up to the top there. Length here, I've now said in the drawing that I don't want that to go 187 or 187.5 or 3/16 of an inch is that fraction that's equal to deep. So length here 0.1875. Now here we go. ANSI screw threads. That's what we want. That's typical Imperial American thread form. Metric profile is not what we want either, but you could use that, or isometric profile. But that's good. And then size here. This is now where we get to decide. What we want here is actually a number 10 size. And again, you can look back at that as the drawing. Number 10, 32. We'll save the specifics of threads for a later date. So what we want here then is number 10. Designation, instead of 1024, we want a 1032. 2B is really more standard. Right hand, that's great. and then remember size. No, I don't, well, I guess we could, but we'll click OK. Look, we have now just modeled threads in on that feature. And again, now we'll do H hole, oops, excuse me, we already had a hole, but now we want to do threads. Again, just to walk you through this, thread. Here, we're going to come in that with an auto size. Yeah, it doesn't really, it's not really figuring that out particularly well on its own. So again, I'm deselecting that, 0.1875. I'm going to go with number 10, 1032, 2B. And this one isn't modeled right now. Oops, that one's just cosmetic threads. If I want to come back in and edit something related to this, now in this timeline down here, I've got now 2 threads. If I click on that, that relates to those. Click on that, that relates to these. I'm now right-clicking on that. And let's see if it allows me to edit. It should. I'm going to hit escape. Right-click again. Ah, there we go. Because I had it like highlighted already. I think it threw it off. So if I do that and then try and do this, yeah, now it's allowing me to edit feature again. There we go, edit. And then I can come back, click on that radio button there for modeled. And now I have 2 modeled threaded holes. Very good.